you for joining us for our virtual flat closure support. For those that are joining us live and those that may be watching this at a later date, we welcome you. Tonight we have a guest speaker and we are going to cover some interesting, but possibly also some tougher conversations. We're going to talk about how our thoughts shape the way we feel about our bodies, why the brain deflects to create narratives, and how to soften them. Those are just a few of the highlights of the topics we're going to cover, but I will turn this over now to Laurie Schibble. She has done some coaching and training with our mentors, and I love her and her presentation.
Mhm.
Her voice is so soothing, and so I thought this would be a great opportunity to bring her in as a guest speaker for this program tonight. So, with that, Laurie, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Ashley. I certainly appreciate the warm introduction, and it is so lovely to meet you all here tonight. And I just want to let you know, just to kind of set the tone for this call and this whole space, that this is not a space where you have to be positive. We are not in this world to be positive Pollyannas, and that's not the goal in life. And if you are, that's okay, right? All emotions are valid. It's also not a space where you have to be strong. And if you are feeling strong, absolutely share. And this is also definitely not a space where you have to have all this figured out. And for the things that you have personally figured out, what's such a beautiful way to really offer support to others is to share your own personal experience versus advice giving. I have found in many groups that offering your own personal experience from that eye is so much more valuable than just telling people what to do or, it should be this, should be that. It also helps all of us to feel more safe when we can just be open to hear experiences and take what we will from each of those experiences. So, this is also a space where you get to be really honest. We're all going to be friends here. This is a safe space for us. We're all in this little circle, right? It's part of how I facilitate is creating spaces where we can trust and we can be honest and real. So, I'm like all about real, like you'll anything you can ask me anything, I'll tell you how it really is for me. I don't really sugarcoat because, right, if we can't be our authentic selves and be truthful about all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And that especially for women and when we're going through things, that's real, right? And that's where we really feel connected and where we feel supported. So we speak from our own experience. We stay away from advice unless it's specifically asked for, then that's okay. And also just know that all emotions are welcome. Like here in this space, yes, but just in life. Something I teach in the Carolina Breast Friend Peer Mentor group is a reminder that all emotions are valid. So we've been trained through society, thank you, that there are good emotions and bad emotions, and that actually is not true. All emotions are meant to be felt and experienced, and we can like think of emotions as your teachers. Emotions are simply information to share something to you, right? If you have fear as an emotion, for example, right? It might be telling you there's something about the situation that you have unknowns or you're not sure, something doesn't feel safe. Emotions are just your guides. They're just your teachers, and it's okay to feel them all. And the truth is, when we just let them and we fully feel, that is actually the easiest way to let them flow through us. And then we don't hold on to them where they can grow big inside us. When we just allow ourselves to fully feel and let it go, we can stay grounded and we don't get caught up in everything so much. Okay. A couple other tidbits too. I just want you to know that it is completely possible to feel both grief and strength at the same time. Those two emotions can coexist. And it also is possible to miss what once was while still growing into who you are now becoming. Both of those can exist at the same time. And I thought it was worth mentioning those today. And so, what we're going to do today, I want to lay out the agenda just so you know exactly what to expect. What I just shared with you is really just a perspective. And what I want to share with you tonight are some very basics about mindset and perspective. Are I want to give you some basics about understanding the brain because when you understand the basics about the brain and mindset and how it works, that is awareness. And we can't change how we think about something, how we feel about something, about ourselves, about situations, about other people, about life, until we have awareness of what we're thinking and how it's making us feel. And when we have that awareness, it brings us to choice. Choice is our power. And we've all been in those situations where we're like, oh, this is it. It's like there's no other way, right? This is how it is. There's nothing else, right? And we feel stuck. It feels suffocating. And it's only a thought. When we step back and we recognize it as simply that, a thought, it allows us to look at other possible perspectives. And perspective is choice is your power. And that's where I'll relate this to the Olympics because we just finished and they're so amazing. But if you ever look at Olympians and you wonder, like, how in the world do they do this? Like, how do they stay so disciplined? How do they stay so committed to what they're doing? It is mindset. And every Olympian will tell you their mindset is everything in their training. Yes, there's physical training, but the mindset comes first. And visualization, you've all probably heard of visualization, right? Where we can take let's say like the half pipe snowboarder, for example, right? So before a half pipe is going down the pipe, that person may actually visualize every single movement along the entire path. And what's fascinating about the brain is when you visualize something, the brain literally does not differentiate what you are visualizing in your mind to what actually happens. And so when you visualize something happening in the way that you desire, and Olympians take this to the extreme, they feel every muscle in their body moving and how it feels for every moment, every turn, every flip, every little moment along the way. And what that does is it takes the brain on that journey. And your muscles have physical memory, even though you just visualized it. And what the brain does is once you, even if it's visualization, not actually doing it in reality, in real life, physically doing it, the brain takes that in as a memory. Oh, we've done that before. We can do that again. So, this is really good to know as we step into this basic mindset and brain training. So, I'm going to give you a few basics just for a better understanding about how the brain works, which will help you understand how you can manage how you think and what you feel, which helps you shift your perspective, which gives you all your power. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how this translates into our own identities. And then I'm going to give you one of my powerful mindset tools called the recalibration method. And I'm going to take you step by step on how you can actually shift your thoughts to shift how you think, to shift what you do and how you think and how you feel, and ultimately your own identity. And then we're going to do a little exercise where we're going to do what I call a thought audit. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions and you can just write them down. So I will let you know if you don't have something to write on, pen and some kind of paper, doesn't matter what, it could be a napkin, doesn't matter, notepad, post-it note, whatever, have something to write on and a pen. Won't happen right away. So if you need to grab something, that's okay. But we'll do a little exercise where we're going to write down some answers to some questions. And then we're gonna probably with our group, we've got enough people, we'll do a brief breakout where we'll just get into pairs. So we'll have a very small group sharing. That part, by the way, will be private. Um, so for those who are listening to the recording, you can write down the questions and you can write down your answers. When we go out into a breakout, those would be private and not recorded. But when we come back into the main room, we'll talk about it as a group. And so for anyone who's willing to share their answers, we can go through that. And we'll have an opportunity as well just to share your own experience of the exercise, what came up for you, and we can talk through some of that, some of the things that came up, and some of the answers that you have. Because in group share, when we are open and share with each other, we are automatically offering different perspectives that we wouldn't think of on our own that immediately expand our brains. And so there is so much value in the group sharing component. Okay. All right. How does all that sound? Everyone good with that? Okay, excellent. All right. So feel free to take notes on anything that you want to. You don't have to. I will ask you to write down answers once we get into the exercise part. But what I want to start with is just going through some very basics on just our brain and how it relates to mindset to give you a base understanding and level of awareness that it will allow you to get to choices. Okay. So here's the deal. Our brain, we think our brain is there to like help us think, right? How many of you are like, yep, my brain helps me think, or maybe sometimes it makes my thinking really complicated and confusing and it forgets and it does all these things, right? Our brain is literally nothing more than an organ in our body, and its primary job is not to help us think. It's not even to help us out, actually. Its sole job is our survival. Our brain's sole job is to keep us alive. So it is constantly scanning for danger. So your brain is looking around every moment of every day going, is it safe? Is it safe? Is it safe? Right? And if you think about this, back in caveman day, back, before we had our, modern conveniences and safety of our homes and, organization structure, all the things, that literally, really, literally our brain scanning for survival really was the difference between life and death, right? We're scanning like, oh, is the lion out hunting for dinner right now, or is he sleeping? When's the opportunity to go out? Are these berries the poisonous kind or the edible kind? Right? So the brain has a great purpose. And in the really rare occasion when we really are truly in danger in today's society in our modern day world, Our brain, when we literally are in a survival moment, it's powerful, right? We want it to kick in and we want it to help us stay alive. So, this is really good to know because our brain is just constantly scanning for are things safe, right? It's looking to make sure that we are staying protected. So we can translate this to common thoughts. We can think about, like, oh, why is it so hard to change a habit? Why do I feel fear? Even sometimes in what our rational, logical brains can go, well, this doesn't make any sense. I shouldn't be afraid of this. But yet, here I am afraid. It's because our brain is constantly scanning. Is it safe? Is it safe? And by the way, our brain also predominantly offers us up negative thoughts. If you think about it, the brain's survival, right? Is this safe? That's not okay. Danger, danger, stay away, right? So it's offering us up automatically negative thoughts. And there are two parts of our brain when it comes to mindset. One is the subconscious brain. It works real, real fast. It takes everything in. It's the place where all of our beliefs, our value system, our identities are all stored. Okay? And it's operating 24/7. It never shuts down. At night it kind of restructures and reorganizes. And the other part of our brain is our conscious brain. So our conscious brain is what makes us unique as humans. It's our higher level of thinking. So when we are consciously thinking of thoughts, thinking of a response to something, thinking about what to do, consciously, we're using that higher level brain of ours, our conscious brain. Our conscious brain, in contrast to our subconscious, works really, really slow. The subconscious is taking in literally like thousands and thousands of things every second. Our conscious brain can literally only handle about 5 to 7 thoughts a second. So, comparatively, our conscious brain is very slow. And you all have experienced this, right? When you start to have kind of lots going on at the same time, and we fall into that little emotion we call overwhelm. Have we all experienced overwhelm? Yeah. Yeah, I think we've all been there once or twice in life. That is generally our conscious brain just getting overloaded. There's too many tasks, too many things happening all at the same time, and our conscious brain feels overwhelmed, right? Like too much, too much. Okay, that's all really all that's going on. Um, so here's the thing. Our thoughts create our feelings. So if we have the thought too much, it's that thought that is actually having us feel overwhelmed. Does that make sense? And think about it. We could have a thought about something like our best friend or our childhood, like one of your favorite memories. And each one of you could say a sentence about that. And it would immediately change how you feel, right? Those are generally happy, fun, loving, playful. So, this is the power of our own brains. We have the power to really decide how we want to feel in any moment. And this is a practice because our subconscious brain, by the way, is what is operating us 95% of the time. So 24 hours in a day, 95% of the time, we're not really actively using our conscious brain that often. Even though it feels like we are, right? How many of you are like, God, I feel like I'm in my head all the time, right? Well, our subconscious brain is really running the show most of the time. And our subconscious brain only knows what it has observed and taken in historically. So 95% of the time, we're operating from our past. So now it's starting to make more sense why it's hard to change habits, right? When we're just on automatic, because the brain will automatically offer up to us, oh, no, 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 we got to do this thing in this way because yesterday and last week and last month, when we did that, we stayed alive. So we're going to do that again because that keeps us alive. And when we try to do something different or something in our life changes and now we're different, the first thing our brain is going to do is freak out. Oh, danger, danger, alert, alert. Something's different. Not safe, not safe. And then enter in feelings of fear, uncertainty, right? And all sorts of things. Okay, is this all making a little sense now to just kind of understand how our brain operates and why we feel the way we do sometimes, and starting to understand that we have more control over how we feel and, what we think than we realize that we do, maybe. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So here's the thing. We can have a situation. So there are always situations that happen in life. Situations, circumstances always happen. So woke up, coffee pot didn't work. Oh my God, I am not going to get my morning coffee. Right? And then, oh, I got to run. Now we're behind and we're running to a meeting and then I didn't get my coffee, right? Oh, that's just a situation. So I can decide, okay, I'm going to die without my morning coffee and I'm just going to be tired and I'm going to be grumpy and it's all going to happen. Or I can just decide, I grew up without coffee. I was just fine. I can go a day without it. I'm going to be okay. I am okay. Right? And just a silly, funny example, right? Okay, Heather, we got you. If you disappear, we'll know you're not just leaving us. Thank you for letting us know. Her internet is unstable. So here's the thing. We could have situations, right? So we can have a situation. So flat closure for an example, right? We have a choice. We have a choice on what we want to do. And in this group, flat closure is a choice. And that is what I call a circumstance. That's a situation, right? Situations are something that are a fact, right? I made a choice for flat closure. That's a fact. We can prove that in a court of law. There's physical evidence, right? So that is a circumstance or a situation. And then our brain will start to offer up some thoughts about that. One thought could be, my body is ruined. And that thought could create feelings of shame or sadness or anger. And our feelings are what really dictate what action we take or what non-action. Sometimes we don't do anything or we stay frozen even. And if we're feeling those feelings from that thought, right? My body's ruined. I feel shame, sadness, anger. My actions might be that I might withdraw. I might avoid mirrors. I might avoid intimacy. I might avoid certain clothes. So that's one avenue based on that thought and this situation. So, what I want to offer you to help you start seeing the power of our thoughts is a different thought process. So, let's take the very same situation. I chose flat closure. And now let's do a new, I call this a thought model. A thought model is we look at the situation, we look at the thought that we have, how it made us feel, what actions we did or didn't take, and the result. So if the situation's the same, I chose flat closure. And I'm going to choose a different thought about this. For example, my body survived. And based off of that thought, my body survived. That thought might create feelings of strength or reverence or resilience. And from that feeling, I might show up differently for myself, with other people, and in the world, and have a very different path, have very different results in my life. The event is real. The thoughts we have about the event are optional. And that's where your agency begins. That's where your power lies. We don't always get to choose what happens to us, but we definitely have influence over how we relate to it. We getting that? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about identity and the meaning that we make. So, identity, who I am, right? I used to say about myself all the time, like, oh my God, I'm late to everything. I'm just late. I'm late. I'm always late. I self identified as a person who is just always late. And I showed up late to everything, everywhere. High school, I was known, I was like, there's something in the water. Laurie's just late, right? It was a thing. And I identified it. And then I had the thought, I'm going to be late. And remember, whatever we tell our brain will then go prove to be true. And then it'll reinforce it by having thoughts that will have me be late. And then I would be late, and the subconscious would keep that and go, oh, we're a person who's late all the time. And then it would offer me thoughts that would have me be late, because when I'm late, well, that's what I've done before, and I've survived when I'm late, right? The subconscious doesn't care what is right, wrong. It doesn't care what's good for you. It doesn't care what's bad for you. All it cares about is that it keeps you alive, your survival. And I taught my subconscious brain that I'm someone who's late, and it reinforced that. And then it kept offering me thoughts to keep me late, because as long as I was late, I was going to be safe, because that's all it knew from history. Oh, when you show up late, you stay alive. Let's keep you late. That method works, right? So I identified as a person who was always late. until I got really sick and tired of that. And then I got into the professional world and I'm like, this doesn't work so well. I need to change this. And I am now a person who is never late. I'm a person who shows up on time. I'm a person who shows up, right? And I just decided I was going to do it differently and started doing it differently and reinforced to the brain, right? Oh, this is something I do. And then it reinforced, we're showing up on time and we didn't die. Oh, it must be okay. It must be okay. Okay. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna show up. We're gonna show up early again. Okay, we didn't die. And over time, the brain's like, okay. Showing up early is safe. Okay, good. Now we can show up early. And all that happened in that whole process is I just changed how I thought. And thoughts are nothing more than sentences in our brain. But those sentences said over and over become beliefs. They get ingrained and it becomes a belief. And eventually, those beliefs become a part of just who we are, our identity. Oh, I am the late girl. It became who I was, the I am. And I share that with you to share that you probably have some things, several things in your life that you identify with. Oh, well, it's the way I've always been. It's just the way I am. It's just who I am. Those are the things you want to pay attention to. And the things that you believe you are that serve you are great. Keep thinking them. And if there are some things that you believe about yourself that you just are, that maybe don't serve you so well, well, we can change those because it is nothing more than a thought. And as we're learning, we have agency over those words in our head. So we can change anything on how we think, and we can truly change our own identity, how we see ourselves, how we are in the world, how we show up. And the way I like to offer this, there's a farce about positive, negative, good, bad. The way I like to look at everything in life is simply this: does it serve you or not? And if not, is there something that could serve you better? And that can be about anything in your life. And we're going to talk specifically about our own identity tonight. And we'll go through a little exercise to help you through this. Okay. So when we have experiences, those circumstances, the situations, the experiences that we have in life, we don't just have those experiences, we actually start to build identities around them. And most of the time, it's very unconscious. So we might think, I'm damaged, I'm less feminine, I'm different, I'm not whole. And when our identity shifts, everything shifts. So, part of what we're going to explore today is we're just going to gently explore, who have I believed I am because of this? And who do I want to be because of this? So, just dropping those two questions into your brain to begin to ponder. Okay, I want to teach you a very simple framework that I have called the recalibrate method. There are 4 simple steps to it. And this is a very simple process that can help actually teach you how to shift your thoughts, to shift how you feel, to give you choice, agency, and power, to shift your perspective, to shift your beliefs, to shift your identity. Okay? Would y'all like to know what this method is? Yeah. Okay, here we go. All right. Number one is simply to acknowledge what is. I want you to know that it is absolutely okay to think whatever you're currently thinking. It's okay. They're just words in your head. You can decide if you want to keep them and continue to think them, or maybe choose something different. But the fact that they're there is okay. Nothing's gone wrong. You're not going to manifest something crazy and wacky just by having some thoughts in your head, okay? They're just words in your head and it's okay. And it's actually super valuable to actually think about, what do I actually think about the situation, right? Whatever it might be. And be really honest with yourself. Because again, they're just words and it's okay. Even if when you say those words out loud or you write them down on paper, you're like, I don't want to think that, I can't believe that I think that, or some version of that, it's okay. You can have the thought and you can decide that you don't want to keep thinking that anymore. And what we get to do first is acknowledge what is true, what is. Okay? And remember, thoughts are actually not true. They're literally things we make up in our head. Situations, circumstances, those are true, right? When we can actually state a fact about something, right? It's a fact. There's truth in that. How we think about it is always our opinion, is always just words we make up in our head. And it's so important for you to remember when you start to judge yourself about the thoughts that are going through your head, that all of those thoughts are just coming from every experience you've ever had in your past and in your history. That your brain is going, well, this version keeps me alive, so I'm just going to keep offering you this. And it's okay. Bye, Susie. It's okay, because you know what? It's just from the past, but we're now here in the present. The one thing we can never control is what's in the past, what's behind us. But what we can always control is what's right here, right now in our present moment. So in any present moment, we can acknowledge what is true and we can decide to choose something different. Okay? So step one, it is so important to just acknowledge what is true. We don't need to pretend that anything is any different. And when you acknowledge what is, it reduces so much pressure. It's relieving. It just simply allows your truth. And when we allow our truth, we're in alignment with it, and then we can make choices from there, okay? So step one, acknowledge what is. Step two, allow it. This one's gonna feel real weird. I don't like that thought and I don't want it, and you're telling me to allow it. Here's the thing. Allowing does not mean liking. You don't have to like it. And it is what is. So we get to just allow it to be present for the moment. Allowing also does not mean approving it. When we think about what we're truly thinking, We don't have to like it. We definitely don't have to approve of the thought, but we do need to allow the truth that it exists. Because here's the thing, allowing means we stop arguing with what already happened. If we deny what's true, if we deny what is, then we're just arguing with reality. The moment we just allow what is, we can be with it, and we can allow ourselves to release it, shift it, do whatever we choose to do with it. But when we're in denial of it and in resistance of it, resistance is actually what is causing a lot of our suffering and pain. It's the denial of something. So when we acknowledge what is and we simply allow it, even when we don't like it and we don't approve, that is what allows us to shift. And remember, pain is human. It is a very, very human experience. We all will experience pain at various points in our life, as we will experience loss, right? That contrast, right? We can't truly understand happiness, love, joy without the contrast of sadness, grief, pain. Without the contrast, everything just kind of feels neutral, right? And remember, all emotions are valid. They're all our teachers and our guides. It's all okay. Okay? So step one, allow what is. Step two, or acknowledge what is. Step two, simply allow it. Step three is perspective. This is where your agency lies. This is where your power lies, because we have the ability to choose. Perspective is also not forced positivity. Okay, remember, we don't have to just if we're feeling something that doesn't feel good, the idea is not to force ourselves to feel good or be positive. That's not it. It's to work towards how we desire to feel. It's being on the journey to what we truly desire. It's gentle possibility. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, good. So possibility is usually in the questioning, right? So what if this shows survival? What if flat doesn't mean less? What if strength can look different than what I was taught? And you don't have to fully believe the new perspective yet. All you're doing is opening the door to the possibility and working towards it. This is a beautiful step of being gentle and simply being open to different possibilities than thoughts that maybe are not or are no longer serving you. Can you all see can you all look at that as a possibility of openness to seeing different perspectives? Yeah. You're just opening the door. And step 4, and the final step, is choice. Step 4 is choice. You may not have chosen what happened, but you still get to choose its meaning. You also get to choose the identity that you step into. And remember, choice is your agency. Choice is your power. So the recalibration method, step 1, acknowledge what is. Step 2, simply allow. Step 3, open to new perspectives. And step 4, choice. And it's worth noting here that you might choose to just stay with the same thought or just stay exactly where you are, and that's okay because you're choosing it. The beauty in step 4 is that you're at choice. You have that power. And if you need to just stay where you are for a moment, that's okay. It's a choice. And you may at some point choose differently. It's still your power because now you're choosing it. You hear the difference in that? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Okay, so I want to take you through a little exercise. So this is where I'm going to invite you to write, and no one else will read this unless you make a choice to share. So I'm just going to give you a few prompts, and I'm going to give you just a little bit of time to write your response, okay? Um, so first, I want you to think about this question. What thought do I have about my body that feels painful? What thought do I have about my body that feels painful? Just write the sentence. What is a thought about your body that feels painful? And next, I want you to write down that when you believe this thought, how does it make you feel? When you choose to believe that thought, how does that thought make you feel? And when you feel that way, or those ways, how do you behave? What actions do you take? Or maybe what inactions? So when you feel that way, how are you behaving? Just notice. And now I want you to gently ask yourself, when you look at this thought that you wrote down, is this thought a fact? Something that can actually be proven in a court of law? Is it actually a fact? Or is it perhaps just a sentence that my brain created? And then I want you to think about, is there another way to see this? Is there another way to think about your body? And remember, you don't need a perfect answer. We're just introducing flexibility and possibility here. Okay, now I want to try something a little different. I want to do a little exercise called If My Scar Could Speak. And I'd like you to answer, if your scar could speak, what would it say about you? And what has your body carried? What has it endured? And also, what has your body survived? And now I want to do a short identity declaration to put all this together. I want you to complete these sentences. I am, and complete that sentence. I am. No need to overthink whatever comes to mind. And now complete this sentence. I am becoming. I am becoming. And complete this last and third sentence. Because of this experience, I now know I am. Because of this experience, I now know I am. Okay. And now I want you to look at those three sentences and I want you to circle one of them that feels most grounding to you or powerful or true, even if it feels new to you. What feels most grounding or powerful or true? Thank you, Allison. Okay. And I think what I'd like to do, since our group is small, we only have 5 of us. If you're willing, whoever would like to share, I would invite anyone who is willing to share which one of those statements feels most powerful for you.
Please share. I will crop this portion out, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, so just share the I am statement that feels most connected, most powerful, most true for you. And I would like for you to share the one thing in this that has shifted for you. And what I'd like to offer is for us to just have a safe space to just breathe light into these words and hold space for each other, right? So there's no advice, there's no fixing. We are all simply here to witness each other and to listen. And witnessing helps the brain encode a new experience. So, by being witnessed in this I am statement, it's helping to encode it into your brains. So, if you're willing, I would love for each of you to share.
Can I share something about where you said if the scar could speak?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a therapeutic songwriting group with Levine, and we just finished writing a song about our scars.
Oh,
And one of the verses is I am a part of you, I am a badge in your war, a medal where you tore, a symbol that speaks of what you've had to endure, but I am your new friend, I've helped you mend.
wow. Oh, that is powerful.
So it was like we just
Oh,
finished it last week, and they're going to showcase it in April at their Healing Arts celebration.
oh, that's beautiful.
And it was we've all been talking about different scars that we're dealing with, and that just struck me when you said that. So I've been writing that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's so powerful. Oh, thank you. Would you like to share your I am statement?
Um, I am the one I did was because of this experience, I am more resilient, and I see myself as a strong survivor that had I not gone through this journey, I never would have thought about previously.
Oh, that's beautiful. And what are you choosing to believe about yourself now?
That I'm going to share the message of strength to others that
Mm.
are coming in to that are at the beginning of their journeys. I'm mentoring somebody at this time, recently started mentoring somebody, and just helping her get through. She's just starting chemo and just dealing with the feelings that, letting her speak,
Mm.
just being there to listen, um, not giving advice, but
Mm.
sharing my experiences. And I always check with her, would you like to hear what I went through at this time? I don't want to bombard her with my story. It's her story that she's going through. Um, but we're, I want to say we're getting through it. You know,
Mhm.
it, I say, you're not fighting this alone.
Yeah. Well, you demonstrate a great power of strength. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yes. Who else would like to share their I am statement?
I'll go. I have to say that if the scar could speak, actually, that got me
Yeah.
because the first thing that we were doing about, the my thoughts about my body started going, and then the scar completely just turned it around. But I am becoming my own advocate, and I'm becoming bolder because of it.
Mm,
Um, I'm I've just kind of let things happen, just trusting the process. And that has not always been the best thing. I realize now that instead of just saying, okay, I guess that sounds right, now I'm having to make hard decisions with a different perspective.
mm,
So, um, because of this experience, I know that I am more than my body, but I do miss my body so much.
mhm. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your truth and trusting us with that. And I am reflecting back to honoring how you are both acknowledging what is and allowing it and shifting your perspective. Right. All of those, the tools have come through in the questions for you.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Right.
Thank you for sharing. Who else would like to share?
Lori, you had your hand up. You can just unmute and then you can share. Hang on. Let's see. Ask to unmute. See if
Mm,
that comes through. There you go.
Okay.
perfect.
Okay, I'll continue on the scar thing as well, and then I'll answer your second question.
Yeah.
If my scar could speak, what would it say about me? You've had a tough life. So that's that. um, my identity declaration, I am going to take the empowerment and become a designer for flatties. I have contacted this woman that does Charlotte Fashion Week, and
Mhm.
I didn't know this, just like I like to clothing, but now I think I look horrible in everything. Well, I do. So I was like, all right, I'm going to create something and I'm going to, you know, that's what I like to do. And I feel like every time I put on a t-shirt or a sweatshirt, because that's the only thing that really hides my chest, um, I want it to be something like more fun, like a fun shirt or a fun dress, like nothing fancy. Like we have a wedding coming up in July. Like I don't want to go because I have nothing to wear, and I don't want to put my prosthetics in because they're hot as hell. So I don't want to do that. So I'm not going because of it, right? I don't have anything to wear, and I don't want to go. So I'm just going to design something fun, and I'm going to be in that fashion show. And if anybody wants me to share that woman's name, I'm happy to do it. It's just for I think it's for survivors or cancer patients. I don't remember
Mhm.
exactly, but it's Charlotte Fashion Week. So, and if anyone wants to do it, just um, ask Ashley, and she'll give you my name or number.
Yeah. Well, and how fun.
I'm trying to
And
make
how,
it fun because it wasn't fun.
yeah, yeah. And who knows? Maybe this experience of you being so creative and having fun with your clothing could give you a different perspective.
I hope so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's part of this journey, right? You honoring your own journey. And now you have this tool to guide you to even give yourself the option. Always yours to take it or leave it, right?
Hmm.
And you have tools to give you choices. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That sounds really fun. Yeah,
Try.
excellent. Good. Heather, would you like to share?
Mine was not perhaps okay. So this isn't going on the internet. I have a job interview on Friday. So I was like, I'm just as sexy as those Neanderthals someone had sex with to give me 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. So I am getting laid. I'm not going to
Love it.
settle for 80% recovery. I'm seeing the OB tomorrow. If I have to get vaginal estrogen, my oncologist is okay with it, but I'm not giving up and going gently into that good night of no more sex.
Amazing. I love it.
My parents were
Good.
nudists.
Yes. Beautiful. Do
That's
you
a good share. That's a good share.
I know. I love that. I mean, we would like, can we just like clap and celebrate for Heather for a moment? Yes,
Yeah.
woman. I love it. That is amazing.
My
And
dad's
that
so
is,
like he's so down vindicated because my parents embarrassed me every day of my life growing up because my dad almost a complete nudist. Like we did end of life care and I've already seen his butt so many times. Like, honest to God. We just got a book that he gave my son that I did not know it said gnomes on it. It had little gnomes. We flipped through it. We had a play date with another sixth grader. They had like a whole section of naked female gnomes, but just topless primarily, and then the boys with like, yeah, butt cheeks showing. So anyway,
yeah,
there you go. It allowed me to have a ridiculous, ridiculous moment in a support group. So
I
there's something
love
good
it.
coming out of that nonsense. The
That's
parent
so
calls.
perfect.
I love that.
Excellent. I love it. Do you have an I am statement?
Oh, that's right. Well, I was thinking that I am just as sexy as all those Neanderthal ladies, but I did say I'm still me. I mean, and that was touch and go for a while during chemo. I wasn't sure what cognition I was going to get
Mm-hmm.
back. So thankfully, I can still speak Spanish and I hopefully can get a job teaching again and all the things that I wasn't real sure about in December when I was like having to put a sign on the microwave that said oven if there was anything in the oven because I would cook something in the microwave, walk off and incinerate the food. Couldn't play Uno, not because I was too tired, because I didn't know what was going on. So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
thankfully that's improved drastically.
Yeah. Well, and I actually really love your statement of I am just as sexy as all those Neanderthals.
Because
I
it had
think
to
you
be
should
more than
stick
one.
with that one.
Yeah, I mean that's not a directly compatible species, so this had to be like for successful pregnancy. They didn't count all the attempts, just like, well, she can pull up a tree out of the ground with one hand. That's cool.
I love it. Oh my gosh, that's
Should that be our
perfect.
new under slogan for this support group?
Right?
Yeah,
I am just as sexy as all those Neanderthals.
It may
Can
it
you
may
post
scare
that
some people
somewhere?
away, but it may be like, oh hell yeah, for some
or
people.
if your husband's Northern European, he's not as picky as he thinks.
That that needs to be the slogan that you post in the Facebook group. Just write that quote and say, if you want to know more, watch the replay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think I may do that. I may do that.
That'll get people very intrigued.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll definitely, definitely be very interested.
Yeah.
I love it. Good. Is there anything else that anyone would like to share too from what came up from our writing?
That was great. It was really great.
Good. And the tool, the recalibration method, and just having some basic level awareness of mindset and your brain. Do you feel like you have some more tools to empower yourself?
Yeah. So I think it's going to have to be more intentional. Um, you know, it's so easy to swirl and, like you're saying, being overwhelmed and such, and even just a general negativity, because sometimes, like, you get
Yeah.
the unfair, this unfair and it sucks and this and this and this, but obviously like stopping yourself and, go through the steps
Mhm.
um is helpful.
One of the things we teach in one of our other programs in Laurie Schibble, I know you're familiar with heart math. I don't know if anyone else has done the heart math programs that we've done, but your body doesn't know the difference in it happening right now versus your thoughts of that same situation. So just like Lori's teaching us tonight to reprogram how you're thinking of a situation, if you're sitting at home and you're thinking of the anxiety you had before your surgery, what is it going to look like? How am I going to feel? Your body is already making those chemicals to react and have that feeling. So if you take that same scenario and sit back and say, I want to reframe how I thought this was going to go, I think that's what Laurie's teaching us tonight is you're
Yes.
rewiring how you're thinking about different things. And it's okay to still have the anxiety if that's still how you feel. But now that you're on this side of it, if you go back and visit that same experience, but with a different thought process, how that will help you heal, how that will help you move forward in this path that you're in.
Yeah, and Ashley, it's a really good point that we can think about something in the past and we can, again, this is all about choice of thought, which is to shift our perspective, right? When we have a different thought, it makes us feel different. And if there's something about your procedure, something that happened, whatever it is in your past, first of all, the past is done and gone, right? It is what it is. There's a saying in mindset that is like, okay, so this is what I got. So now what? Because we can't change it. It happened, done, gone. So this is what I got. So now what? So now what? Now how am I going to decide? It's a how am I going to decide to think about that? And when we start to shift how we think about it, that is what changes how we feel about it.
Mm.
And that changes everything, right? And the same is true for something that you might be having thoughts that are causing you to feel uncertainty, anxiety, or other feelings that are coming up in your future, that you can be intentional and decide to think differently. And a way to shift that, again, remember, it's not about, oh, I got to go from negative anxiety to just all happy, good, it's going to be great. Well, that's your body's going to call you BS on that, right? Like that's not real. But what we can do is bridge the difference. So we can ask, well, what if what if it all is okay? Or what if everything works out fine? What if the procedure just works as it needs to? We can start asking, well, what if? And the what if opens our brain up to possibilities. What if no matter what happens, I know I'll be okay, right? Notice how we're just even that way of thinking is already shifting how you're thinking about it, right? So we can play with our thoughts. It's not about like, oh, this is a negative thought. Let me just, oh, it's great, it's great, it's good. Oh, well, okay, what if I thought, oh, well, maybe it won't be so bad. Maybe that is a much better thought than what you're thinking that eases the anxiety, eases the stress. The whole idea is to remember, does this thought serve me or does it not serve me? If it doesn't serve me, is there a better, better, a better thought that could serve me better? That's it. We're just going in the direction to feel more what we want to feel, because our thoughts are what define how we feel, and how we feel creates all the actions, the behaviors, everything that we're doing, and ultimately the results. It's really all about how our feelings, and they come from how we think. So if we use this process and we just offer something better for us to think, it will shift how we feel. Right? Does this make sense?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, do you feel like you can take what you've learned tonight and maybe even just take one simple thing away from tonight and allow it to serve you?
Sure. Yeah.
Beautiful. Good. Yeah. This has been very, very wonderful. Thank you so much for
Thank
letting me
you.
in to this circle and into your space. I do hope that you all can take something with you. If you need to as well, rewatch the replay. Sometimes when you hear yourself speaking, you'll hear yourself in a new way, and that can be very helpful. You can always just forward it to the part where you spoke and listen to yourself speak, and it can help offer you a different perspective too.